You know, when you talk about the absolute titans of football, there are certain names that just instantly pop into your head. Well, today, we're going to dive deep into the story of a player whose career was just a masterclass in leadership, longevity, and pure unfiltered dominance. Let's get into the legend of Lothar Matthäus.
So let's just start with a number, 150. Now that's not just some random stat. That is the all-time record for the most international appearances for Germany. I mean, just think about what that means. You're not just good for a season or two, you are consistently at the absolute top of your game for over 15 years, for one of the greatest footballing nations on the planet. That is just unbelievably rare.
And if that wasn't enough, here's another number for you. 5. That's how many FIFA World Cups he played in. 5. For an outfield player, that's just staggering. It means for 2 entire decades, you had to keep your body in elite condition and your skills sharp enough to make the squad every single time. He's part of a very, very exclusive club there.
So what made him so special? What was the secret? Well, many people will tell you he's one of the greatest and maybe the most complete midfielders to ever step on a pitch. He wasn't just another player on the team sheet. No, he was the engine, the general out on the field, and more often than not, the guy who made the difference when it mattered most.
And really, it all boils down to these core attributes. His leadership, it wasn't just about shouting. It was about his actions. Fueled by this incredible, almost superhuman stamina, he was everywhere. And that relentless energy came from a competitive spirit that was just off the charts. All of this was wrapped up in this remarkable versatility, which meant you could put him almost anywhere in midfield or even defense, and he wouldn't just play there, he would dominate.
Right, so this guy was a monster on the international stage. We get that. But that wasn't the whole story, not by a long shot. He took that same talent and that same drive to the club level and absolutely conquered 2 of the toughest leagues in Europe.
And this, right here, shows you how adaptable he was. Of course, he was a hero in his home country, with Bayern Munich, winning a ton of league titles. But then, he did something that a lot of great players failed to do. He moved to Italy's Serie A, which at the time was famously defensive and tactical, and he became the beating heart of an iconic Inter Milan team. He led them to a league title and a UEFA Cup. To conquer both the Bundesliga and Serie A, that cemented his status as a true global superstar. But, you know, for all that incredible success with his clubs, there's always one stage that defines the true legends. And for Matthäus, the absolute peak of his career came playing for his country. Italy, 1990. This is the moment every kid with a football dreams of. He captained West Germany to victory in the FIFA World Cup. This wasn't just a trophy, it was everything. The culmination of his journey. It put him on the Mount Rushmore of football, as the undisputed leader of the best team on the entire planet.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. His role was so much bigger than just his skill with the ball. He was the team's heartbeat, its driving force. It was that exceptional leadership, that sheer force of will, that dragged his team to the ultimate prize in world football.
Okay, the World Cup is a team trophy, for sure. But what Matthäus achieved on an individual level, especially when it comes to longevity, it's just staggering. It's almost hard to wrap your head around.
Just look at this timeline, from 1982 all the way to 1998. That's a 2-decade span where he was a central figure at the World Cup. To stay that fit, that relevant, that good for that long is, well, it's pretty much unheard of.
And of course, that incredible year in 1990 was capped off with the biggest individual award in football, the Ballon d'Or. But what makes this so special is that he was the first midfielder to win it after years of it being dominated by attacking geniuses like Diego Maradona. It was a huge moment, a recognition that the most influential player on the field could be that all-action guy in the middle.
But for me, what's maybe the most fascinating part of his story is his football brain. This guy wasn't a one-trick pony. He was an absolute genius who had this incredible ability to adapt and change his game as he got older.
See, in his prime, he was the quintessential box-to-box midfielder. That's the player who literally does everything. One minute, he's making a crucial tackle in his own penalty area, and the next, he surged the length of the field to score a goal. It takes a rare mix of skill, tactical smarts, and an absolutely massive engine. And Matthäus had it all.
But you can't run like that forever, right? So what did he do? He completely reinvented himself. He moved deeper on the pitch into a sweeper role. Now, this position is less about explosive running and more about your brain. It's about reading the play, seeing danger before it happens, and organizing the entire defense. To master 2 such completely different roles at a world-class level, that's a sign of a truly one-of-a-kind football mind.
So when it was all said and done, when the final whistle blew on his career, what kind of legacy did he leave behind? Well, it's one that's still shaping the game even today.
You can look at it a few ways. He's still Germany's most capped player, a record that might just stand forever. He's become a symbol for what peak physical conditioning and longevity look like. He's in every single conversation about the greatest midfielders in history, and his influence is still felt today as he shares all that incredible knowledge as a coach and a really sharp analyst.
Which really brings us to the big one, the ultimate question. When you stack it all up, a World Cup winning captain, a Ballon d'Or winner, a record setter who mastered 2 different positions and conquered 2 different leagues, you just have to ask yourself, is Lothar Matthäus the most complete midfielder in the history of the game?